So put the Bible in your lap or look it up on the app, however that goes. We'll be in 1 Samuel 12. But first, let's talk a little bit. Is there a time when you came to a realization that whatever somebody else looked at you wasn't how you looked at yourself? And in reality, that's not how God looks at you. 7 years ago, one of my oldest mentors, and I'm going to say oldest, but not really all that much in age, but more old as in life experiences and wisdom in the Bible. He said two things to me. One, he wanted me to remember, and one I think was just a throwaway that he didn't think that I would remember. One I thought was really funny at the time, and he said, give it a couple of years, but you'll be preaching. And I was like, not me. The other one that I think that he thought was a throwaway that I've never forgot and probably won't forget is that you look at yourself a different way. Other people look at you a different way, and God looks at you a different way. So which way are you believing for yourself? And that could be good, that could be bad, right? Like, take me, for example. I'm born and raised in this town, and as Micah alluded to a couple weeks ago, I have a real sketchy past, right? So then you fast forward to 7 years ago, and I'm following Jesus again, and I'm diving in, and people look at you different, right? I looked at me different. Only it wasn't the, look, I'm Batman or I'm this superhero. I looked at it like I was undeserving of the chances that I was getting through doors that I was being able to walk through. Just like other people looked at me. And that's where, kind of where we're at in 1 Samuel 12. Because as we've talked about, Saul in chapter 11 just got this huge victory. So now he's the king. He is the appointed king. He is the king that the people wanted. And here we are. And Samuel's up in age. And so then Samuel said to all Israel, behold, I have listened to your voice and all that you have said to me, and I have appointed a king over you. Now, here is a king walking before you, but I am old and gray, and behold, my sons are with you. And I have walked before you from my youth even to this day. So let's stop right there. In his first talking to Israel. And this isn't like us talking to a handful of people, 100 people. This is all of Israel. Because he is a leader. He is the judge until right now. And he is saying, don't get this twisted. Here is the king that you have chose. Not that God has chose, not that I have chose, but I came for you, and this is who you chose. God has told you that you're going to have a king, which we all know, fast forward, is Jesus, right? That's our king. They didn't want to wait, which we've talked about in the past couple of weeks over and over, which is the same thing we do, right? We were talking the other night at home, and you want to wait? and we want to cook dinner, or do you want to go through the drive-thru? Well, we're hungry now, so let's go get food, right? We don't want to wait. They didn't want to wait. But one of the most important key words in the first two verses is that my sons are walking with you. If you remember back when Micah was talking in chapter 8, Samuel's the judge. And he is going to appoint his two sons to be judges. And the leaders in Israel said, no, they're not even good. They're not even walking with you. They don't deserve to be judges. And Samuel said, okay, they don't walk with me. Well, here, they're walking amongst the people. They're getting under the same rule as everybody else. And we'll continue. See, Thomas ain't even here. He's downstairs. He can't keep me in line. So when Micah's gone, then Thomas is gone too. Verse 3. Here I am. Bear witness against me before the Lord and his anointed. So who's his anointed? That's Saul. Whose ox have I taken, or whose donkey have I taken, or whom have I defrauded? Whom have I oppressed, or from whose hand have I taken a bribe to blind my eyes with? I will restore it to you. So let's talk about that for a minute. Right? Like, he's the leader. He was the leader of the whole nation. And this is like a political leader today coming and saying, hey, here I am. Have I done anything to you? If so, come forward. Right? Like, we all know that's not happening in today's culture, right? Like, that is not happening. But Samuel's like, here, if you have something against me, if I have wronged you, come and tell me. But the interesting is that he humbles himself and says, and I will restore it. Right? There's so many times that we confront or take criticism, but we don't want to do anything about it. Right? We don't want to hear it. I'm the type of person that likes to hear criticism because I don't want to hear the niceties. I know I'm not that good, right? I know I'm not that good. So give me something to build on. First couple of years that I was pulpit supplying, you get the niceties. Oh, that was a good message. Oh, thanks for coming, and like all the things. And so I had to have those group of people that would intentionally watch me or watch my sermons and say, no, you can do this, or I want you to do this, or try this, or why did you do this? Right? Because you did great isn't going to help me, especially if I'm not doing great. But also, do I give the same criticism, constructive criticism, right back? Right? We all know the famous Mike Tyson quote, everybody wants to be a boxer until they get punched in the face. Right? Everybody thinks they can do good until something not good happens. We say, my group of guys say, everybody wants to be held accountable until it's time to be held accountable. So how do you give constructive criticism? But more importantly, how do you take it? Right? My wife gives me constructive criticism all the time. Right? And sometimes I take it good. And sometimes I don't. And it's a two-way street, right? Sometimes I give her constructive criticism, and she takes it well. And sometimes she doesn't, right? So just think about that in our Christian walk. That's what we got to do. If you're outside the guardrails, I hope somebody in this congregation or one of my closest friends comes and grabs me and throws me back in the lane. What's my attitude going to look like when they do? Back to our scripture. Verse 4. They said, "You have not defrauded us or oppressed us or taken anything from any man's hand." He said to them, "The Lord is witness against you, and his anointed is witness of this day that you have found nothing in my hand." And they said, "He is witness." So he is in God. So Samuel's saying, I'm an okay guy. I'm a righteous, God-fearing man. And everything is right here. And I'm getting ready to hand it over to Saul. So, I'm leaving Israel. I'm retiring. And it's in good hands, in good standing. So, from this day forward, if something happens, you guys can't come back to me and say it was Samuel's fault. Verse 6. Then Samuel said to the people, "It is the Lord who appointed Moses and Aaron and who brought your fathers up from the land of Egypt. So now take your stand that I may plead with you before the Lord concerning all the righteous acts of the Lord, which he did for you and your fathers. When Jacob went to Egypt and your fathers cried out to the Lord, then the Lord sent Moses and Aaron, who brought your fathers out to Egypt and settled them in this place. But they forgot the Lord their God, so he sold them into the hand of Circea, captain of the army of Hazar, and into the land of the Philistines, and into the hand of King Moab, and they fought against them." So he's reminding, all of a sudden he has this big speech, right? This retirement speech. And he brings them, look, you guys just said that we're in good standing. So let's pause for a minute and we're going to have a history lesson. Right? It's the same God that was then with your fathers, that was with Moses and Jacob. And they too fought God. But God's righteous in different ways. So you're going to have to see through it. So in all this, that he's trying to set the table for them, and right off into the sunset, he's like, look, even though you guys messed up and wanted a king, your fathers and grandfathers messed up too. But God's righteous. Verse 10, they cried out to the Lord and said, "We have sinned because we have forsaken the Lord and have served the Baals and Ashtaroth. But now deliver us from the hands of our enemies, and we will serve you." Then the Lord sent Jerubbaal and Badan and Jephthah and Samuel, and delivered you from the hands of your enemies all around, so that you lived in security. So that's what he's reminding them. because those are judges, right? He even appoints himself, right? He mentions himself. God only sent judges when what? When crises happen. And he mentions himself. So he mentions Gideon and himself and Bedan. But we haven't heard about Bedan in the last couple of chapters. He wasn't talked about in Judges. So that's a note, a challenge for yourself, some homework. Do some research on that. There's a lot of scholarly stuff about who Bedan was, right? Just side note, it's not even in my notes. I'm just throwing that out there, being the Bible nerd that I am. So he's reminding the people. These people messed up too, even though God had them and God had good intentions for them. But he sent the judges to help them and put them back into the guardrails, to keep them back in their lane. All hope wasn't lost. Samuel himself was the judge, right? So we'll continue on. 12. When you saw that Nahash, the king of the sons of Ammon, came against you, you said to me, no, but a king shall reign over us. Although the Lord, your God, was your king. So in this history lesson, he started all the way back from Moses, and then he brought them all the way up to current day. Even though you have examples and examples and examples of generations ahead of you that where God saw them through it, you wanted the king. God said there would be a king, but you didn't want to wait. You didn't want to wait for that supper to be cooked. You wanted that 2-minute microwave meal. We do that too, right? In our everyday life. Or it might just be me. I don't know. One instance, I'm walking with the Lord. I feel good, right? That image that I look back at myself is pretty good. And then something happens that changes just like that. Then I'm not so much like the person I see in the mirror. Last night we went to a Savannah Banana baseball game. I know Micah is a big football guy. I'm a big baseball guy, so you're going to get that from me. But it was late coming home, and we were riding the MetroLink, which in all my years I have rode the MetroLink thousands of times. But last night, or early this morning, I was looking around at the people. What labels were they wearing? What labels was I wearing? Right? You had all different shapes, sizes, and walks of life in that MetroLink. And I'm talking in that MetroLink, and sometimes they were right up in your face. Was I judging them? Were we judging them? Was I putting a label on them already? What labels do we have? What labels do we have for ourselves? I'm sure 8 years ago, the label I had was, he ain't got a prayer. Right? I was the rebel. I avoided people that I avoided Christians. I say people, but Christians, because I didn't want to talk about it. I couldn't live up to the standard that I was taught when I was younger. So I wasn't even going to try. As a matter of fact, Not only was I not going to try, I was going to go out of my way to be extreme and not try even harder. Is that what we do sometimes? Do we look in the mirror sometimes at ourselves and say, I can't come back from this situation? I can't come back from this diagnosis that I got. I can't come back from this situation that I chose to be in. These people around me are saying this about me, and they're right. These people are saying this about me, and they're right. Which all might be true. But you know what the most golden rule is? It's not what you say about yourself. It's not what other people say about yourself. It's what God says about you. What does God say about you? Right? So we're fast forward, right? These are our ancestors too. So the same God that helped Moses, that Samuel's talking about right here, is the same God that we have today. And he's talking about ancestors, and he's seeing them through, which also got my mind wondering too. I don't ask enough questions. Like, in my workplace, at home, how's God been in their lives? Right? Like, I hope and pray every day that if I get squeezed, a little bit of Jesus comes out in me. I knew my grandparents came here to this church. I knew that. But that's all I knew. How did God show up in their lives? I don't know. I won't know that now. I had a conversation with my mom. She's running slides at a different church today, so she's not here. So she can't correct me, so I'm going off the rails. But like, how's God showed up in her life? Right? Like, I see it from my perspective of there, but how does she see it? In my dad's life? Or my kids' life? How do they see it? Maybe the person that talks a lot in our family needs to shut up and listen a little bit. So as when we leave today, like, challenge yourselves for that. Like, the people in your lives. And maybe the people that you're really close to. The real kicker is the people that you're not so close to that are in your life, right? Like, how do they see God? What's their God moments? Where am I at? Let's see. 14? 13? Now, therefore, here is the king whom you have chosen. So again, he's reminding them, let's not get this twisted. You guys chose this. Whom you have asked for, and behold, the Lord has set a king over you. If you will fear the Lord and serve him, and listen to his voice, and not rebel against the command of the Lord, then both you and also the king who reigns over you will follow the Lord your God. If you will not listen to the voice of the Lord, but rebel against the command of the Lord, then the hand of the Lord will be against you, as it was against your fathers. So again, he's reminding them. it's not always cool to be the rebel guy, right? Like there's a lot of movies and a lot of TV shows and where the rebel people are the cool, good guys. Sometimes it's not always so good. Even now, 16, even now, take your stand and see this great thing which the Lord will do before your eyes. It is not the wheat harvest today, or is it not the wheat harvest today? I will call the Lord that he may send thunder and rain. Then you will know and see that your wickedness is great, which you have done in sight of the Lord by asking for yourselves a king. So Samuel called the Lord, and the Lord sent thunder and rain that day, and all the people greatly feared the Lord and Samuel. And Samuel. Right? Like, that's what it took. It's wheat harvesting season, so it's usually a dry season. And Samuel says, I know a guy, and he can make it rain. And he's going to make it rain. And then you're going to see how wicked you are for not listening. And then it rains. And then they're scared of God and Samuel. Samuel's been with them since he was a boy. And it takes this one thing to wake them up. This one thing. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not a small thing, because I'm sure I can't be like, hey, God, it's really hot. I'm kind of an extra large guy. Can you make it 69 degrees today? Could God do that? Yes. Do I have enough confidence in myself and my belief that it will be 69 degrees today? Probably not. So after all the things that they know, this is the one thing that now they fear God. Then all the people said to Samuel, pray for your servants to the Lord your God, so that we may not die. For we have added to our sins this evil by asking for ourselves a king. Samuel said to the people, do not fear. You have committed all this evil, yet do not turn aside from following the Lord, but serve the Lord with all your heart. Right? You want to know a little Bible nerd topic here? It says, but serve the Lord with all your heart. All. You know what that means in the original translation? All. Right? Not part of your heart, like all your heart. Let's not go down to the water and put our little toes in, like let's cannonball off the cliff. So even though you have done wicked and caused this for yourself, right? You made the bed, now you got to lie in it. How many times have we been told that? As a father, how many times have I said that? Right? And I don't mean it to be mean, even though my kids might debate me on that. But sometimes that's where the lessons are. And yeah, those lessons, they don't come with chocolate milk and chocolate cake. But those were our decisions. But there's hope here. There's hope in this verse. Because Samuel says, even though you made your bed and now you're going to lie in it, good, bad, and ugly, whatever Saul's going to reign, don't turn away from the Lord. "21. You must not turn aside, for then you would go after futile things which cannot profit or deliver, because they are futile. For the Lord will not abandon his people on account of his great name, because the Lord has been pleased to make you a people for himself. Moreover, as for me, far be it from me that I should sin against the Lord by ceasing to pray for you. But I will instruct you in the good and the right way." You ever been there? So he's saying, don't put all your eggs in the basket of the world, because guess what you're going to have? A basket of rotten eggs. And he is still going to obey the Lord, by even though they shamed him and didn't trust him, he's still going to obey and pray for them. Right? How many times we do that? How many times does someone shame or wrong us and we pray for them? Like earnestly. Not like the old country song, "I'll pray for you," and the flower pot drops and all the things, right? Not the old Bible Belt saying as, "Oh, bless your heart." I'm talking about earnestly praying for someone who wronged you. You want a confession? I have trouble with that. I have trouble with that a lot. And you know what? It's always the people that's close to me that hurt me the most that should be so easy for me to pray and forgive. You know what? If Joe Schmo at Lowe's triple charges me and I go back, of course I'm mad. But I get over it. And I'll pray that he has a better day. And then his drawer comes out decent, right? But if that family member puts it right back here, or they throw it right here, it's hard to pray for. I don't know. Might just be me. Or, here's one. Here's one that's close to home. What if it's somebody who hurt your kids? Yeah. You know what I do? This is half joking. My wife will pray for you. Right? Because that's my kids. I call Pastor Micah, I call my other mentors, and I mean, like, you guys better have some bail money. Right? Instead, I should open up the Bible, or at least open up the Bible in here, and pray earnestly for that person. Maybe I'm just the only one. Right? Let's continue. Uh, 24. Only fear the Lord and serve him in truth with all your heart. There it is again, right? There it is again. 2 times in 1 chapter. With all your heart. So, must be important. Samuel says it twice. God puts it in the Bible twice. We better listen. Him in truth with all your heart, for consider what great things he has done for you. But if you still do wickedly, both you and your king will be swept away. Right? So this is like Samuel saying, look, I know you guys have sinned, but follow the Lord with all your heart. This is Ronnie saying to us, including Ronnie, even though you've sinned, follow the Lord with all your heart. Right? There's a couple things where I didn't follow the Lord with all my heart, even in the past 7 years, even in the past week, even in the past 2 days. All right, we'll stop right there because I can say within the last 24 hours too, probably. But, right? But I knew better. And when I did, the thing little tugged at me. You big dummy. You know better. Right? So then I turned back and followed the Lord. Because if not, Samuel's giving the warning right now. You and your king will be swept away. It's the same God then, it's the same God now. So that means same goes for us. We let wicked reign, we will be swept away too. Wouldn't it be nice if you just retire? Some of you are retired, so I might have questions after service, but like, this is Samuel on the grandest stage of them all, and he could have been like Ronnie 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years ago, right? I followed the Lord, and you guys stink. Deuces, I'm out. But that's not him. He's telling them, look, you guys stink, but turn back to God. And I'll keep praying for you, even though you stink. That's hope. That was hope for them now, or then, and it's hope for us now. And when I say I was a poster boy for the bad boy, someone that I never thought that I would get to the pearly gates, I'm not lying. I did some pretty not great things. But Jesus met me where I was at. I didn't have to go get cleaned up because Jesus cleans me up. Jesus died for me. He died for you. Even though I did those stupid things over and over and over and over and over and over and over. My wife will say over and over and over and over again, right? Jesus also died for everyone else. It's the greatest thing that's happened to me. And I ran from it. And I ran from it. And I ran from it. And he used people that was already in my life to bring me back home. Right? I didn't find God. He found me. That's my story. Right? Like I knew who God was way back when I was in Linda's class. Like I knew who he was. And I probably asked her the same million questions that I still ask 46 years later. But now I really know God. Now we have a relationship. Do I do evil, bad things? No. Do I do bad things? Yeah. But there's hope because there's prayer, right? That's our first line of defense. Prayer. I know we say it and it's cliche all the time as I'll pray for you. If you say that, do that. Right? And I'm guilty of that. Right? Text thread comes through. I'll pray for you. On it. And the guys knew. Are you really? Do you really mean it? Now it doesn't matter where I'm at. Somebody needs prayer. I'm going to pray for them. If it's someone who's wronged me, I'm still going to pray for them. Might take a cooling off period, but I'm going to pray for them. So in this joyous time of Samuel having his retirement party, he takes the last grand stage that he's going to have before he kind of fades, right? To glorify God. To remind people. To remind his people that God's good. We're all wicked and we all stink. God's good. Do we do that? I know I don't. Right? In the end of the day, past 2 weeks, I've been through the ringer. Right? It's like one of my busiest times of the year at work. And I know there's some days that I've gotten squeezed. Not even a mustard seed of Jesus came out. And I failed. And I say, Lord, help me get through this day. Right? Don't give me strength because I might punch someone, but help me through this day. Right? And that's just real. So, my challenge to everyone as we leave today, throughout this week, ask questions. Find out about ancestors. Your own ancestors. Find out about your coworker. Find out about the lady down the street. Find out about the teenager that's checking you out at Bratcher's or the grocery store. Ask your kids. What's God done in your life? Because yes, there have been some righteous things that God has done in everybody's life. Right? Even non-believers believe. Right? How can you not believe in something that you don't think exists? How can you acknowledge that? And I'm not talking about the 1900s, Jesus brick, talk to them about it, beat it down, beat them down, and beat them down. I don't know. Maybe if they're a non-believer, open the door, smile for them. I don't know. Maybe when things are going sideways and God and Jesus is the only thing keeping you together, just keep smiling, and maybe they can see that from you. Right? And this is an old saying, but I still think it's good. Because if God put you to it, he'll see you through it. Right? And I know there's probably like 4, 5, 10 different variations of that. But if God saw you to it, he's going to see you through it. And he's going to be there with you as you go through it. So as we go out, we might be the only Bible someone sees this week. Which translation are they reading? Right? And that's and for me, that's like the $1 million question. Which translation is the better? Which translation? Which translation? You know what my answer is? And it might not be the right answer. What translation are you reading? Because that one's okay. Because you're reading it. The worst translation is a translation you don't read. But that Bible sits by the bed or on the kitchen table. Or the app never gets opened. So let's challenge people. Challenge ourselves this week. Challenge people this week. Will you pray with me? Lord our God, thank you for gathering us here today. See us as we go through the week. Be by us. Bring us peace, comfort, as those trials and tribulations might come. Ease our mind, ease our heart. Lord, I don't ever have anything good to say, but you do, and you choose to use me anyway. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen.